toss, and they will receive. Ladies and gentlemen, could you please rise for the Australian National Anthem? Gentlemen, could you please remain upstanding for the playing of the USA National Anthem? the last time these two teams met. 56-30-3 in favour of New South Wales. That was a total of 89 points. It should be a great game tonight. It'll be number 34 to kick off for New South Wales. Number 80, Brendan Peake, and number 88, Nick Yap, to return the ball. This is for the first senior national gridiron champions. Will it be New South Wales or will it be South Australia? The kick-off is underway. It's a low kick, and it's a good kick. Goes into the end zone. That'll be a touchback. South Australia will commence at their own 20-yard line.
No height, but the distance takes it out the back. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gridiron in Australia has been going for 11 years, and tonight, for the very first time, we are going to be crowning a national champion. It's either going to be South Australia or New South Wales. Do we have any New South Wales fans in the house tonight? Any South Australian fans? We'll give the New South Wales fans a chance to redeem themselves later. First and 10 for the South Aussies at their own 20-yard line. 44, Mark Yeager is the quarterback. Hand-off running play. Andy Noel, number 23, looking for something on the far side. It's actually number 33, Vaughan Ackland, from the same club, the Eastside Razorbacks. Sorry, Andy. Vaughan Ackland goes out and gains about 7 yards on the play. Now, for those of you that are new to American football coming out for a bit of a look tonight, welcome. We hope you're going to enjoy what you're about to see. Along the course of the game, we'll be explaining the rules and how this game kind of works. Second down, 3 yards to go. Once again, Vaughan Ackland heads around the outside, gets that block. First down and across the 40. It'll be taken to the 42-yard line. Now, the aim of American football is when you have the ball, you're called the offense, and you have 4 plays to go 10 yards. If you want to keep track of the game, have a look at those strangely coloured sticks on the far side of the field. Now, the stick on the left, the target stick, is where they start their series of 4 plays. The stick on the right is where they have to go to in those 4 plays. The black stick with the number indicates where the ball currently is and what play number we are at. If you get the 10 yards, you get what's called a first down, and it starts all over again. Right now, South Australia, first and 10. They're at their own 44-yard line. Mark Agger back to pass, intended for Lee Millard. Now, when a pass is thrown forward and it is not caught, it's called an incomplete pass. No yardage is gained. A play, one of those 4 plays, is lost. And we start over again from the same line of scrimmage. Australia, second down and 10. Once again, Mark Yeager passing, Lee Millard with the catch, and a good tackle from New South Wales. That's number 5, David Main, stopping any further progression. What we've got now is a gain of about 6. You can see the stick with the number being moved by our expert chain crew on the far side of the field. Now, third down is what is known as the crucial play. If you know how rugby league works, if they are deep in their own territory on the last tackle, they will usually kick the ball downfield. And if South Australia does not get the required yards on this play, they may well decide to kick the ball down. So third down coming up for the South Aussies. They're in New South Wales territory now at the 48-yard line. Mark Yeager keeps, and he will be out of bounds. From here it will be short of the first down. Gain of a yard. They needed about 2.5. Decision time for South Australia. It's what's known as 4th and short. Mark Yeager talking to South Australian head coach Mark Lieberens, looking for a decision. Mark is the head coach of the Eastside Razorbacks. Mark Yeager is his quarterback back in Adelaide. You can see on the far side of the field the stick with the 4 and that target. That's how far South Australia have got to go. If they do go for it and not get the yardage, New South Wales will get the ball back at that point of the field. And South Australia is going for it. And movement at the line of scrimmage. Now, if you're on the offense with the ball, you must remain stationary and not move forwards prior to the snap. Dead ball, false start. One of the offensive linemen moving before the snap. They'll move it back 5. And because there's a greater risk now of not being able to get the first down, you'll see Mark Yeager going back in the punt formation. Here's the kicker back deep for New South Wales, number 80, Saf Rafael. Good snap. Kick is away. Heading for the far sideline and out of bounds. New South Wales will take over, ladies and gentlemen. 1st and 10 at their own 26-yard line.
South Australia's first offensive drive is unsuccessful. Fighting Premiers will take over from their own 26-yard line. Led out by quarterback number 8, Paul Cone. 2 MVP awards in the 3 games that he has played. Option play straight away. That's number 10, Grant Forbes. Normally wears number 11. On the first play, a big gain on the option play for New South Wales. 2 contrasting offences here tonight. South Australia renowned for their passing game. New South Wales for their running game. In fact, the most number of touchdowns scored in the tournament was 13 by South Australia. The most number of rushing touchdowns was 13, scored by New South Wales. 7 of those 13 were scored by the quarterback, Paul Cone. In his last game against South Australia, he rushed for 5 touchdowns. He gives it to Forbes again. A pick up of a couple. Quarterback Paul Cone also led the tournament with the most touchdowns, with 7. Second in the tournament was Lee Millard with 6 for South Australia. Second and 7. Give this to Forbes again. Pick up a couple of yards. a loss on the play. It'll be 4th down. So New South Wales will punt the ball away. Number 5, David Main to punt to return for South Australia. Nick Yap. Not a very good kick. Rolls out of bounds, not being able to be returned, of course, and South Australia will take over for their second offensive series of this game.
Well, in direct, we do have a flag on the field. Thus far, in direct contradiction to Tuesday night's offensive slugfest, thus far the defences are dominating. Never ever seen a game with 13 touchdowns scored before. This time we have a flag and it is blocking below the knees against the South Australians. Now this is going to be a fairly critical penalty. As you can see, there's a lot of real estate involved, 15 yards. And most importantly, New South Wales keep the ball and they have 1st down.
Give us the Forbes. There's a hole from up the middle. Simon or Young on the stop for South Australia. Once again, he makes yards. By number 33, Gary Crossley for New South Wales. Brings up 3rd down. Third and 2. Give us the Forbes. Good coverage by the South Australian defence. They'll bring up 4th down. If you've just joined us this evening in the first game, we had a very exciting game between the juniors. New South Wales becoming the national champions, beating Victoria 12 points to 8.
Australia now with the ball back first and 10. They're at their own 22-yard line. The usual pro formation with two receivers each split on either end and two runners in the backfield. Bryan Ackland, number 33, trips as he tries to make a cut. Gain of a yard. Ball now at about the 24-yard line for the South Aussies. Number 33 surges through their pack of players. Good run, will be short of a first down. On the tackle for New South Wales, number 63, Martin Fario. Head official Paul Mercer having a look. They're going to call a timeout. Now those two sticks are divided by a chain, and it's a first down for South Australia. Is the ruling? Officials have called the timeout for some reason. One of the South Australian players not in a good state back in the team huddle. So the officials have called an injury timeout. Gives us a chance to give some thanks to various people who've helped make what is probably the largest logistical exercise in the history of Australian gridiron possible this week. Injured player number 33, Bryan Ackland. Give him a hand, ladies and gentlemen. Replacement veteran and one-time South Australian most valuable player, number 23, Andy Knoll. Moving the ball, first and 10 from their own 34. Andy Knoll gets the carry on the counter play. Trips up over the 30-yard line. We'll be lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. To the air, Brendan Peake thrown over. On the coverage, number 30 for New South Wales, Sergio Villagra, will bring up a third down and 10. We've got the Woden wave coming from both directions now, left and right. Third down play coming up. South Australia changes the formation. 3 receivers, 2 on the near side. Mark Jagger under pressure, throws to Andy Knoll. Has to get through that little bit of traffic. Number 53 for New South Wales. Recheck on that. Number 63, Martin Fario, one of the tacklers. Gain of forwards. 4th down and 6 for South Australia. They are in their own territory, so most likely you'll see them in a punt formation. Back deep for the Fighting Premiers, number 80, Sth Australia. Flag on the play. Takes a good South Australian bounce. Sth will leave that alone, and it will be down at the 12. But we'll see what happens with the penalty.
Anyone understand it? Well, I'm not going to run that risk, mate.
It's a legal procedure ruled against South Australia.
I am all the way.
What you'll see is they'll be marched 5 yards back, and they will have a repunt.
Getting on the right track. He's getting on the right track. Your license? Wait, on the right track.
Once again, Mark Yager back to the kicking. Sth Australia waiting for the ball.
Red signal. White signal, white.
Again, we got a flag on the play. The kick is away. Sth Australia touches it. Fumble ball. New South Wales did recover. But once again, we're going to go back to that yellow hanky in American football. Here in Australia, we play under the NCAA college rules from the United States. If those rules are broken, you'll see one of the 7 officials we have here this evening will throw that yellow handkerchief into the air to indicate a penalty. They will come back and discuss it with the head referee, Mr. Paul Mercer, and he will call the signal, which on this occasion is a false start.
What about you, mate?
Looks like because the play got away, it could be an illegal procedure. And one of the things that might be is that they only had 6 men on the line of scrimmage. In any offensive play, your team must have 7 men wherever they want along the field, but 7 of them must be on the line of scrimmage. So it's take 3. South Australia now 4th and 15, going slowly but surely backwards. Again, a nice snap. This time Sth Australia's got a blocker to help. And a good solo tackle, number 29, Jason the Spider Zwartz. New South Wales will start off from their own 40.
So the Fighting Premiers will take over from their own 40-yard line. The score is currently nil. Kane is back to pass for the first time this game, and he is sacked. The sack there was by number 12, Craig Grant. Loss of 3 yards in the play. It'll be 2nd and 13 for the Fighting Premiers. Gives up the middle to... Oh, it appears there's a fumble on the play. Recovered by New South Wales. Give us to crosslink number 33. There was a fumble. Fortunately for New South Wales, it was recovered. Third and long, New South Wales. One running back in the backfield, 3 wide receivers. Cohen is back to pass yet again. Passes to number 80, he catches it. South Raphael making the reception for New South Wales. Timeout, New South Wales. For New South Wales, they'll be going for it. Sorry, they're punting. Mayman is back to punt. Nice looking punt. Fielded by Nick.
Going back to pass, looking for an incomplete. Intended receiver number 32, Chris Stokes. There is a hanky down in the back of the New South Wales lineup. We have holding, defensive holding. My apologies, face mask defence. So a 5-yard penalty there inflicted upon the South Australian defence. And a replay of the down, we're going to see second down and about 12. I think the comparison between the size of the two sidelines certainly going to play a part in this second half. South Australia with their full complement. New South Wales perhaps a little underdone. Going back passing, looking for and completing to number 84, Brett Burton for New South Wales. He's taken out of bounds by number 24 for South Australia, Simon Orr-Young. It's going to bring up third down and about 9.5. Cone rolling out and he's caught from behind. Great play by the South Australians there. Number 12, the tackler there for South Australia, Craig Grant.
Give it towards Dozer. Go Dozer.
So that brings up a 4th down and long situation for New South Wales. Just manages to get that punt off. 88 back for the return for South Australia. Nick Yap. A nice block there by Craig Grant in just behind play. And Nick Yap manages to get about 15 yards, and we'll see the South Australian team offence for the first time in this half.
What a great block, Craig Grant. Oh. I think that New South Wales boy even saw him. So 1st and 10 for South Australia. And Dr. Mark Yeager brings his offence to the line of scrimmage. Oh, nice run by number 23, Andy Knoll, as runs over the first tackler. Picks himself up about 6 yards. The South Australian Cheer Squad can do a lot of things, but singing isn't one of them.
Oh, Canadian, mate. The Australian Cheer Squad can do a lot of things, but singing is not one of them.
So 2nd and 4 for South Australia. And Andy Knoll once again on the carry. Brought down there by Sergio Allegra. And I think he might just about have enough real estate for a first down. And we have the ubiquitous Hanky down on about the 35-yard line. And it's a face mask on New South Wales on the preliminary signal from the head referee, Mr. Paul Mercer. So it's just the inadvertent face mask penalty there, just a 5-yard one. That certainly has brought up the first down if it was short before. So 1st and 10 for the South Australian Dragons. So Yeager has 2 backs, and he goes to Andy Knoll again. And Knoll is really rumbling here in the second half. Tackler on that occasion, Scott O'Brien, for the Fighting Premiers. South Australia doing a nice job both of marching down the field and chewing up the clock at the same time.
Come on, 20, get him going!
2 wideouts for South Australia, Brendan Peake and Lee Millard. Once again to Andy Knoll. Just short of a first down on this occasion for the Dragons by about a ball and a half. So it's 3rd and a short 1. So it's the QB free kick. And I think he might have got enough, but we'll wait and see. Line judge there, Dr. Sabine, indicating the spot, and that's 4th and short. South Australians appealing for a measure. No, they're not. Yes, they are. But they're not going to get one. So that's 4th and short. Very important down this for the Premiers. If they can stop South Australia here, they get the ball back in reasonable field position. And that's fantastic scrambling from Mark Yeager. Tacklers were number 59 Scott O'Brien and number 29 Rodney Sinayam. It's easy for you to say.
So first down and 10 again for the South Australians on about the Premier State 19-yard line. High backfield, Andy Noel on the carry once again. Not a lot of room for him there, however. Tyrone McGarry, number 44, and Sergio Villagra, number 30 for New South Wales, in on the tackle. This drive from the South Australians started back around about their own 35-yard line, so they've moved a bit of real estate and taken up a bit of time. So second down and about 11 yards. A good gain there over the right side for South Australia. Andy Noel on the carry again.
We must do this game, you can't beat it. First, what's the real estate rate? All the time. So it's really complicated. We only just play part again, but I think we got it.
So perhaps a bit of bad news for the championship. The gentleman being treated by the ambulance down there, we believe, has certainly got a suspected fractured knee. So we wish him well in his speedy recovery. Back to the action, and Andy Noel looking for some room over the left side this time, but is met rather heavily by number 75, Michael Vardavas. Now that's going to bring up another 4th and 1 for the Dragons. They're looking pretty good this drive, so doesn't appear that they're even contemplating field goal. I think they're looking for another TD.
Well, goals out.
Yeager on the roll out. There is nobody there for New South Wales.
Let me get
And I'm just trying to see where they've marked this one. They've marked him down. He's certainly got first down yardage. Inbounds at the 2-yard line, I am reliably told. So the Dragon offense certainly doing a job in this drive, their first one for this half. short this time round. So not a lot of gain there. Second down still. About 1.5 yards out. Andy Noel over the left-hand side and strolls into the end zone for a Dragon touchdown, their first for this half. Move the score out to 20-0. The South Australian Tabernacle Choir on the right-hand side of the stand there. They will be featuring fabulous Phil Hurden in a Kamal medley at three-quarter time. Back to the football. Number 25, Kim Slater, the kicker for South Australia, out there for the conversion. And the kick is up. And good. That one just scraped in, but that's good enough. And that moves the score out to 21 points to 0. So a great drive there from the Dragons, starting on about their own 35-yard line and ending in a touchdown at number 23, Andy Noel. Achieved two things, obviously the score being first and foremost, but also chewed up quite a bit of time off the game clock. So Sergio Vallegra and number 80, Sth Raphael, back for New South Wales. Kim Slater on the kick. Another good hang time on this kick. Some great work there by number 67 for South Australia, Lano Tiani. Broke up that wedge there of the New South Welshman, and then the South Australians poured on in to make the tackle. So we're on about the 25-yard line, New South Wales 25-yard line. There is a flag down, however. We'll just wait for the official call.
Yes, it was up and it was good. Well, it was good. And the tournament was second.
We have a block below the waist against the New South Wales side. That's going to march them back towards their own end zone.
So the South Australian Tabernacle chanting group doing a fine job down here in the right corner of the stand. Penalty has been declined by the Dragons. The first one has anyway. The chain's resetting now. Paul Cone in a quarterback. Drops back, sets up the pass. Finds number 80 with a beautiful ball. Sth Raphael. And that's a nice pass to South Australia for New South Wales. Don't mind me, it's been a long championship. Good first down there for the Fighting Premiers. So first and 10 for New South Wales. Paul Cone has 3 receivers and a single back. He passes to number 10, and that's Grant Forbes. But Forbes is brought down by Jason Schwartz.
Good on you, Jace. Get in by the Schwartz.
And the gain on the play is something in the order of around the 5-yard mark. We'll just wait to see where the officials spot it. And just short of 5. So second and a long 5 for New South Wales.
If someone says to you, you've got the time to say to them.
It's quite a radically changed New South Wales offence tonight. One of their key running backs injured in the last game. So they've gone to a much more passing situation. And Paul Cone is dragged down by number 12, Craig Grant. And he has had a very fine game tonight, Grant. That's a big loss on the play, something in the order of about 12 or 13 yards. South Australia lead the ball game 21-0. New South Wales clearly looking to get some big passes going. They need to score and score quickly. Four receivers set, no backs. Pass is intercepted there by number 77. And that is Alvin Smales. His cheer squad seems pretty pleased about it too. And fabulous Phil Herden slipped out of the booth down to the South Australian cheer squad, which proves you can take the commentator out of South Australia, but you can't take the South Australian out of the commentator. He's held that bias in all week, but it's going to get out now.
Like a 24-hour game.
So the Dragons reset, and they are at their own, at the New South Wales 35-yard line. And he's aired one out big here. Ooh. And the pass intended on this occasion for Lee Millard. But good coverage from number 29, Rodney Sinanen. Jaeger certainly got some air under that one.
Bring on the action.
Peake and Millard, the two wideouts for South Australia. This time it's a run by Andy Knoll. And he just tipped those down for a gain of about 8 or 9. And the South Australian line doing a fine job. Getting out in front there, getting some good blocks in.
The other was off. I'm not the other one. I'm not as unconcerned. I'm not sure I'm trying for the real estate. Like the side, pick the fences. Dragons.
Okay, so the officials are measuring to see whether that was a first down. So we'll wait for the signal from referee Paul Mercer. And he signals first down.
Look aside! Look aside! Look aside! What are the blue ones?
So Jaeger drops back to pass, the receiver falls over. Millard, Lee Millard was the intended receiver, but he lost his footing on the far side of the park.
Basketball, mate. Give me basketball.
So that's 2nd and 10 for the South Australian Dragons. So once again a time-eating drive by the Dragons. They've marched the ball down the field. Again getting into good position. 2nd down and 10, I-backs. Change of running backs there for the South Australian side. Jaeger back to pass, looking for number 80 from the South Australian side. Brendan Peake, a man who has featured quite heavily so far in the series, along with his wide-out counterpart, number 81, Lee Millard. So 3rd down and 10 for the Dragons. They really need a first down here, or this drive's going to stall. When we have a little bit of movement, I think. So a little bit of movement on the right-hand side of the offensive line for the Dragons. It's going to see them march back 5 yards to bring up 3rd down and 15. Jaeger rolling out to the right, looking for Mr. Peake, number 80. Not finding him, however. That's going to bring up 4th and 15. And an interesting choice for the Dragons. Not sure that they've got a kicker that'll kick that far for a field goal. And they may, in fact, decide to go for it. One would think that the New South Wales Fighting Premiers need to get something going very, very quickly if they're going to get back into this game. The Dragons going for this on 4th and 15. The quarterback sneaks straight up the middle. Eventually tackled by number 15 for the New South Wales side, Robert Kaufman. Just seeing where they're marking this ball. There is somebody down for the New South Wales side. First down is signalled by the referee, Mr. Paul Mercer. And I think the injury is starting to
take their toll with New South Wales at the moment. Can't quite see who the man is that's down.
Show your number. It's a good move.
Come around there, play front of
So a slight pause in the play while the injured players are tended to down there on the field. I'd like to heartily recommend the Miller's Genuine Draft product, which is available downstairs in the bar, one of our sponsors for the event. They are slipping down quite nicely. Well, our New South Wales player is up, number 30, Sergio Villagra, and at least he's walking away. So South Australia faced with a first down and 10 after that nice little quarterback sneak from Mark Yager. Andy Knoll back into the backfield for the Dragons.
3 times in a week, mate. I've watched them 5. And I'll take them and watch them extra.
So a run over the left-hand side. Not a lot of real estate, but certainly enough to move the down marker. Picked up about 5, maybe 6. It's going to bring down 2nd and 4.
It's not really spread anywhere else. Except once in Australia there was a game.
Andy Knoll up the right-hand side. Quite a number of the New South Wales side in on the tackle, not least of which was number 59, Sth O'Brien. And first down signal by Mr. Mercer. That's going to bring up a first and goal situation inside the 5-yard line for the Dragons. And one would think that the not so thin, not so fat, not so anything lady is on her way to the podium if South Australia is going to put this one in.
South Australia, first and goal, leading the game 21-0. Jaeger keeps the ball, and we await any signal. Touchdown for the Dragons. Mark Jaeger punching it in personally. And while, as they say, it's never over till the fat lady sings, I think she might be warming up the amplifier here today. And Mark Jaeger coming off. And he's done an outstanding job right throughout the whole championship for the South Australian Dragons. And there are some good judges around the park who think he might be in the national team. We'll pay attention at the end of the game and we'll tell you. So the 1-point attempt for the Dragons is blocked. That ball is live, so it's picked up by number 55. 59 in fact. It's Sth O'Brien. he's pushed out of bounds before he can get to the end zone.
He was pushed!
And South Australia will therefore take the ball back and kick it back into play. They lead the ball game 27-0. And while the result may not be surprising, certainly the scoreline has been. The officials have just signalled three-quarter time, so there's just 15 minutes left for the Fighting Premiers to dig deep and find a little something. Well, a big something, because they need 4 touchdowns. The Dragons will be keen to achieve a shutout here in the first national championship at the senior level. And the Premiers will be just as keen to punch that ball down the field quickly.
Probably too good. Most definitely all strains, brands, letters, numbers, phases, colours of pepper. Peppers make pots. Probably several sexually trained.
So kicking off for South Australia, number 25, Kim Slater. Slater kicking barefoot. Kick the ball back into play at the start of the fourth quarter in the final game of the 1995 National Championships. Slater with an ugly looking kick, but effective as it wobbles its way down in the end zone. It'll be a touchback and New South Wales will take over at the 20-yard line.
Definitely Sunspot. Because the sunburn would probably manifested as sunstroke.
Notice the quarterback there for New South Wales is seemingly carrying an injury as he came out onto the paddock. This certainly has been a long night. And one would suggest that New South Wales really do need to get something going on this drive. The other night they racked up some points in quick succession, so 1 quarter of football remaining. By no means is this game over. It looks like a reverse pass, and he's looking for Mr. Cone, but I really do think that he's carrying a leg injury. Not at all as athletic as he has been throughout this championship. Number 5 for New South Wales, David Main, the man on the reverse pass.
It's just not my game. Call me hypertensive. Call me hypercool. Call me anything you love. But it's not my game.
Cone looking for a bit of room around the right-hand side. Eventually finds some. Looking for one of 2 receivers there, number 32 for New South Wales, Chris Stokes, or number 80, I think it is, Sth Raphael, but unable to find either. That's going to bring up 3rd down and 10. And one would suggest that New South Wales cannot afford a 3 and out here. So single back again for New South Wales, Cone back to pass. He is under a lot of pressure, well caught by number 83 for the New South Wales side, Leif Hurlbut. He's still going, and he's eventually brought down. That's a great effort by that receiver. So about a 30-yard pick up there for New South Wales. No hankies on the play, so that's going to bring up 1st and 10 on the 50-yard line.
Pack your shirt in 33. That's 85. Goosebumps, goosebumps, goosebumps.
The option, Kane on the carry himself. The boy has got some speed. He eventually slips over just out of bounds. He certainly looks like he's got enough yardage for the first down.
What's the front races, Doctor?
There is a holding penalty though on the offence. So this one's going to go back 10 yards. So an unfortunate penalty there for the New South Wales Fighting Premiers, as a 15-yard gain turns into approximately a 5-yard loss.
Kick off with a woody! Nell.
The repeat of first down, 1st and 15 for the Fighting Premiers, again in the single back offence. An option reverse. Number 80, Sth Australia on the carry. He's eventually bullocked out of bounds right in front of the South Australian bench.
Rip his clothes off! All 17 Raiders!
So a gain of about 10 on the carry. It's going to bring up a second down and approximately 5 yards to go.
I don't think that last statement was politically correct.
Going back to pass under a lot of pressure. Finds his intended receiver in the middle of the paddock, who is wrapped up by number 73 for South Australia, Darren Lee. The receiver, number 80, Sth Australia. There is a flag down on the play. And it looks like one of the offensive gentlemen may have moved prior to the ball.
Australia's aim
The blue guys are getting the huddle.
Yes, a penalty has been declined by the South Australians to bring up a 3rd down situation.
Get down and get with.
False start penalty against the offence was declined. So we've got 3rd and about 4 yards to go for the Premiers.
Count to 9. 9 big ones. Get the 9.
Kane passing, looking for number 83, Lee Corbett, but that pass went a little behind him. And that's going to bring a 4th and 3 situation.
They're up to 9. 5 and 4, 7 and 2, we've got 4 and 3.
One would suggest a punt would be out of the question here. New South Wales do need to keep this ball and score.
What do you call it? Touchdown!
The option for New South Wales, Kane taking it himself. Early indication says that the South Australians don't think he has the yardage. Waiting for the signal from the referee, Mr. Paul Mercer. And that is first down red. He was short. So the Dragon defence doing the job for them here tonight. Fighting Premiers obviously needing to get this ball back as quickly as possible and see if they can get something going. Andy Niall on the carry over the left-hand side. He's eventually wrapped up by number 15, Robert Kaufman, for the New South Wales team. Appears to have gained enough for a first down. We'll just wait. Yes, first down signal by Mr. Mercer. So once again the South Australians move the chain. Somewhat ironic that South Australia did it with the pass against New South Wales last time, but tonight I think their running game has been outstanding. Timeout of first down and 10 for the South Australian newly named Dragons. A name that I think by the Tabernacle Choir will stick. Jaeger rolling out and finding Andy Niall. Andy dances down the sideline and is knocked out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. No flags on the play. That's going to be up another first down as South Australia threaten again. So first down and 10 for the Dragons on their own, on New South Wales 21-yard line. Sorry, 26-yard line. That's one too many, Millers. Once again, Andy Niall on the carry, this time over the left. There are flags down everywhere at this point. Oh, it's a hanky vest. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5 flags on this play. I'm not sure if they're all for the same thing or multiple. And we also have a player down for the South Australian Dragons. Trainer out very quickly to assist. Justin Musgrove, the man that was down but is now up. So the officials sorting this one out. I think we may have more than one penalty.
He's taking his head off. What's that mean? What's that mean? He's got his head off. Tell us, commentator. He's put it back on. He's adjusting it.
My apologies, 89 for South Australia is Michael Coulston.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, man.
With a holding on the offence, a personal foul against the defence.
Well, what's that now? What he's only his back to it. Baseball.
wait to see how these penalties are enforced.
What's the penalty?
So it would appear we have a live ball holding and a dead ball unsportsmanlike conduct, and in fact the player has been ejected from the game against the New South Wales side. And that's going to result in a first down for the South Australian Dragons. It's just a question of where the ball will end up. 59, Sth O'Brien, we believe, is the player that's been thanked for his participation thus far in the game and explained that he's no longer required. So we're not quite sure what happened there in that penalty, but obviously it must have been bad enough for the officials to eject the player. Either that or he may in fact have incurred his second unsportsmanlike for the evening. When a player incurs two unsportsmanlike conduct fouls, he is automatically ejected from the game. So obviously when you get a multiple penalty situation like this, it does take a little bit of time to sort out. The officials do have to march this one back for the holding first and then assess the 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct foul. And we're going to end up with the ball on the 21-yard line. First down and 10 for the South Australian Dragons. So Jaeger looking for Millard and finding him. And he trundles along for about a 6 to 7 yard gain. That's going to bring up second down and about 3 for the Dragons. Andy Nile on the carry again on the right-hand side. He's eventually tripped up and finally stopped by number 35 from New South Wales, William Dowsey. It's good enough for a first down, so we're going to have a first and goal from about the 2.5 yard line.
Game in there, stop. He's in. He's staying there.
So 4 chances now for the Dragons to punch this one in and perhaps help drive a couple more nails into the coffin. To number 74, Chuck Weiss, who I believe is the oldest player in the championships at 47 years of age. And Chuck manages to rumble for a yard and bring up second down and goal from the 1.5 yard line. met by number 15 Kaufman, number 51 Nathan Wakefield, number 34 Paul Bone, and in fact he's dropped for a loss of about half a yard. So that's going to bring up 3rd and 2, or 3rd and goal from the 2. And Chuck's moved out of the backfield onto the offensive line again. Jaeger with some great faking. The pass is tipped by number 90 for New South Wales. We don't actually have a name for him. Intended receiver was Mr. Peake, Brendan Peake, who I believe was the player down with a cramp in the end zone. That's going to bring up 4th and 2. The Dragons haven't even hinted at a field goal all night. I don't think we're going to see one here.
Not a field goal from them, no.
And Brendan's up again. Obviously the touch of the cramps. He's had a hard night's work.
I want to give a bad noise. He's scored off. Ain't in the sidelines this week. He's done a wonderful job in the so many times.
So 4th and 2 for the Dragons.
Go the mighty Dragons.
New South Wales looking to keep them out this one last time.
Come on, you blue cranes. What's blue and tough?
Hand off to Andy Knoll, who bullocks his way in through the end zone. He was met heavily by number 34, Paul Bone for New South Wales, but drove him back into the end zone for the score. So the score moves on to 33-0. The Dragons will attempt a extra point kick. 25, Kim Slater on the field. Number 12, Craig Grant, the holder. And the kick is up. And good. Moves the score on to 34-0 in favour of the South Australian Dragons.
Look, the size of this crowd, if it stay to the end, it'll just be an absolute
Come on, Benny, you can't really can't.
You won't go and get me 10 minutes in the parkway in 3 days.
So the South Australians looking quite good here, well into the last quarter. The Tabernacle Choir calling for number 5, Sam Conroy, I believe. A great kick there by Kim Slater. Number 30 on the return for New South Wales, Sergio Valagua, is met by a myriad of South Australian Dragons. Nicky down on the play. So it would appear to be an illegal block to the back on the returning team, New South Wales.
Yeah, the chooks. That's catching. The blue chooks.
And so we're going to have a first down and 10 for New South Wales on their own 5.5 to 6 yard line. Number 32 on the option carry there, Chris Stokes, round the right hand side, a pick up of about 8 I think. No, not that much. He's knocked out of bounds after a gain of about 6.
6 and a bit. Trying to touch over 6.
That's going to bring up second down and about 4 yards to go.
There's only 9 yards to a down. You take 6 from 9, get 4. Goodness, my bad to 40.
We have a very jubilant Gasser executive up here in the stands, feeling quite confident at this stage. As Paul Cone makes a run round the left-hand side. A big pickup. Doesn't appear to be any flags on the play. And first down is the signal.
Down, Mike, down, get down and get with it!
About a 25-yard gain there for Cone round the left-hand side.
Oh, 25 yards going, whoa! There's a sprinter, he'll make 100. There's some long distance runners.
So Cone rolling right, looking for number 32. Chris Stokes down the right-hand side, not finding him. That's going to bring up a second down and 10. Cone back to pass, and that's over the head of his intended receiver, number 80, Sth Australia.
Did you see that? The ball.
Second down and 10, is it? Oh, perhaps third. Yes, it is third down and 10. Slight mix up there with the down marker.
Go down!
Cone on the option. Pitching out to Chris Stokes, who finds some room around the right-hand side.
I'm waiting.
Pickup of about 6.5 to 7 yards. It's going to bring up a fourth down situation for the New South Wales Fighting Premiers. About 3.5 yards to go. this time. The pitch a little bit wayward, intended for number 10, Grant Forbes. And he falls on the ball at about the 40-yard line, or 41-yard line. And that's a turnover, so South Australia will take control. First down and 10 on the New South Wales 39-yard line.
Gotcha. What's the substance? Gotcha.
So not a lot of action there up the middle for the Dragons.
Guess what? No longer belongs to a snotty-nosed schoolgirl. Hey. What have you got on your name?
So who is this Sam Conroy? Second down and 10 for the Dragons. Number 40 on the carry for South Australia. Damien Fowler around the left-hand side.
We'd just like to page John Rowe, if John is still here. If John is still somewhere in the vicinity of the stadium, he's returned to the commentary position. He's taken some stereo items that are not his, that belong to our castle. We'd like him back before the end of the night.
So third down and about 6 for the Dragons. Jaeger back looking in the air. Number 81, his intended receiver, Lee Millard, and it looks like he's got an attack of the cramps now. It would appear to be just a cramp, we certainly hope so. So that's going to bring up a fourth down situation for the Dragons, fourth and about 6 on the New South Wales 35 and a bit line. For the Dragons, and they're going for it. New South Wales coming in a hurry. This one's picked off by number 40 for New South Wales, and he's eventually tripped up by Mark Jaeger. Great pressure there from the New South Wales side on the quarterback, and he responded after throwing the intercept with a great tackle.
At the conclusion of this evening's game, Quick has asked that all the senior players involved in this year's championship, South Australia and New South Wales, as well as those from Victoria and of course the ACT, all those players could please gather on the field at the front of the grandstand after the presentation of the championship. we will be announcing the first ever Australian selected senior squad. So I said all the players that are eligible by playing, could they please meet at the front of the grandstand on the field there, please.
So a penalty on that last fourth down play. It went against the New South Wales team, however they still maintain possession of the ball. Going back to pass, looking for number 83, Leaf Helbert, and not finding him. It's going to bring up 2nd and 10. So 2nd down and 10 for the Fighting Premiers. Looking to take something away from this final, perhaps a score to finish with. Trouble and Speed Gordon there with Sean Garner and number 12, Craig Grant, saying howdy doody to Yudi. I'm told I can't say more trouble than a Werribee duck here in the ACT. It won't have any meaning whatsoever. I think that looks like a signal saying there's about 2 minutes to go in this game. Remaining, 3rd down and 20 for New South Wales. Kane slips, gets back up and is met by the South Australian defence. In particular, number 30 for South Australia, Justin Fagador. Due to a slight technical hitch, we're not going to be able to provide the after-game music that we had intended for this evening. We've had a small problem up here in the booth and unfortunately we're not going to be able to play that. So 4th down and a trip to Sydney for the New South Wales side. It looks like they're back to punt. With the punt. It's caught back on about the 35-yard line by number 21 for South Australia, Danny Levering, and he eventually rumbles his way down to about the 50-yard line. A New South Wales player down on the field, number 51, Nathan Wakefield, getting to his feet very, very slowly. South Australian head coach Mr. Leverance is drowned by the bucket. The New South Wales side call a timeout. Interestingly enough, Kazim Hadamizik, I hope I got close on that pronunciation, in there at quarterback. He'd spent most of the game at fullback this evening. We'll have to rely on the Tabernacle Choir from the South Australian Dragons to sing "We Are the Champions" should that be necessary, because we've lost our music. So after the timeout, it'll be 1st and 10 for South Australia. Mr. Mercer whistles time in, and Chasm brings the boys up to the line once again. Handoff up the middle is not finding a hell of a lot. Looks like number 20 on the carry for South Australia, Mick Clearman. One would suggest the South Australians just going through the motion here to run out of time. Pick up of about a yard on the play. Chuck Weiss checks back into the game for the South Australian side. So Chasm taking a kneel there for South Australia. Can't be a lot of time left in this game. And congratulations to the South Australian Dragons, the inaugural championship, national championship team from South Australia.
Presentation after this evening's game for the national champion for the seniors, South Australia Dragons, as well as the selection and the handout of certificates to those selected players for the senior national side to tour New Zealand in August. We ask that all our participating teams move down in front of the main grandstand area here so that we can get presentations underway.
Just while the teams are completing their huddles, we will draw the raffle. First out of the raffle barrel is the third prize winner. And the winner is Grant Garraway. Oh no, hang on. Michael Smith, Victoria. And the chances of that beer getting back to Michael are not high. Second prize. The winner is John Rowe of Canberra. isn't he a popular little boy? First prize. The winner is Mick Elfer of Phillip. If we could have the New South Wales boys over for the presentations, please. Ladies and gentlemen, if we could have a little quiet, please. This is another great game of football. The Commission congratulates South Australia on an excellent win. We call out Mark Yeager to accept the cup from Commissioner Gail Tuff. Gentlemen, there's a couple of bottles to go with that. In all sporting contests, there's a loser tonight. New South Wales play with a lot of hurt players, a lot of players who didn't play. I'd like a round of applause for them. I'm glad we only spent $4.95 on the champagne. And now it's my pleasure to announce the MVP award for the final. And the winner is from South Australia, number 23, Andy Knoll. One thing I forgot to do with a junior national team presentation earlier was to explain the structure that we're working under. And Gail Tuff, who is one of our commissioners, has been appointed as in charge of overseas trips for Grenade Australia, which is why she's reading out all the awards. So if we could have a round of applause for her as well, please.
The head coach for the senior international team is Paul Hill, Victoria. Assistant coach Mark Liebren. Assistant coach Peter Toth. Assistant coach John Crispin, ACT. Players, quarterback, Paul Cone, New South Wales. Mark Yeager, South Australia. Bryan, New South Wales. Paul Manera, New South Wales. Nathan Wakefield, New South Wales. Chuck Wheat, South Australia. Bryan Pridham, South Australia. Craig Smith, Victoria. Peter Steve, Victoria. Running back, Grant Forbes, New South Wales. Vinnie Morgilio, New South Wales. Vinnie can't accept this because he's actually been seriously injured. Kane Falconer, Victoria. Vaughan Ackland, South Australia. Receivers, Brendan Peake, South Australia. Lee Millard, South Australia. Warwick Sadler, Victoria. Freddie Lewis Jr., New South Wales. Defensive lineman, Michael Verdurva, New South Wales. Peter Smith, New South Wales. Michael Smith, Victoria. Chris London, Victoria. Jason Maybury, ACT. Linebackers, Colin Buckle, Victoria. Chris Godotti, Victoria. Scott O'Brien, New South Wales. Sean Garner, South Australia. Andy Knoll, South Australia. Defensive secondary, Robert Kaufman, New South Wales. Jason Swartz, South Australia. Mr. Biddlecombe from New South Wales. I don't have a Christian name. Lachlan. Mark Bennett, Barnett, Victoria.
As I said after the junior presentations, there's a lot of money to be raised to get these teams away. So when these guys come knocking on your door looking for some help, please dig deep for them. Help them with the raffles and all that sort of thing. I think that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending the first National Championship. It's all over.